Well, alright guys, you know how much of an athlete I am. I wear Under Armour shirts, so nothing quite says sports like that. Okay, so today's video is going to be about video games and sports. Starting with everybody's favorite blue-haired warrior, Ninja. So as you can see, ESPN made out a tweet talking about the latest cover of ESPN magazine. Ninja is going to be the face. Literally, Ninja is the face. I mean, all you can see, his whole head is the magazine cover. So this tweet has gotten a lot of attention with 7,000 retweets and 41,000 likes. This is going to be a little bit controversial. And so I know where you're already going in your mind with this discussion, and it's that since I'm part of the gaming world, I'm automatically just going to be fighting the side of gaming is a sport. Gaming is a sport. I have a different take than what most of you will think. So let's take a look. So some of the first stuff we're seeing is if I could dislike a tweet, it would be this garbage. Clearly somebody that does not want gaming to be a sport. We'll keep going. We'll go ahead and see. You guys are losing credibility fast. Alright, here's an example of a gamer that's standing up. We see FaZe Cloak, who's a member of FaZe Clan, who's a gaming organization. Let's go. This is insane. Double fire emoji. So now we're going to get down to the tweet I replied to. And it was initially the first tweet that was sent in response was, some people who go really hard on a video game deserve some credit. The dude made more money in 3 months than you will see in your life. And I don't know who he's really responding to. He just responded to the main tweet with that. But the amount of money that Ninja makes or whoever makes, that's not part of the subject here. The money doesn't matter. What we're talking about is whether or not video games are a sport. So someone named Carl Johnson, note that this original tweet got 746 likes. So there's a decent amount of people backing that. But then Carl Johnson says, still not a sport. Bill Gates out-earns me too. He's not an athlete either. Yeah, the whole money thing doesn't matter. But this is where youtube.com/Nateson enters the picture. I said, I really don't know why people on both sides care whether or not gaming is a sport. Why do we act like being considered a sport is some sort of special privilege? It's just people competing. Who cares what it's called? Alright, so this is where I'd like to talk more about my position in this, as well as clarifying the other sides of the fence. So, the first side, you have gamers. Gamers defending gamers, I guess is the best way to put it. Gamers are saying video games are sports. They're putting in the time, the practice, they're making money. These players are athletes. These are sports. And then you have the other side that's saying that this is not a sport. Video games show no physical activity. You can't call it a sport. It's not fair to your traditional ball sports players to call video games a sport. And then you have me here in the middle. I'm stuck in between all of this. You know my heart. I mean, I'm not wearing my Overwatch hat right now, but just so you know, if you're new to the channel, I play video games for a living. I love sports. I grew up playing them. I have a whole bunch more than just this Under Armour shirt. I have a whole bunch of NFL jerseys. I played a ton of sports all throughout high school, middle school, elementary school, whatever. But also I play video games throughout all of it as well. Competing in video games. I just hit top 500 in Overwatch. So I put in a lot of time in both things, which doesn't make my opinion suddenly matter more than anyone else's. It's just giving you context to where I come from. When it comes to this topic, this is me sticking up for the video game community by saying, who cares what other people think of our thing? You see, what we have here, we're going to bring this to the Overwatch example because that's what I'm really familiar with, even though Overwatch isn't the biggest example. What we have, to me, is so much cooler than these people's traditional ball sports. Why are we acting like the word sport has some sort of prestigious meaning to it? And honestly, I'm saying what we have as competitive video game players and fans of this industry. Why are we trying to devalue the brand by calling it a sport? Isn't it what we have cooler? And by the way, I am completely fine with calling it an esport. I think that has a nice name to it, and I don't care if you want to call it a sport or an esport, or why do we care what other people think of our thing? What we have is awesome, and it's working, and it's growing. You should not take the time of your day to engage with these people, like I did. And to the people that are harshly against video games being considered a sport, my question is, why do you so not want video games to be a sport when there are so many direct parallels between the practice, the competitive nature, the everything that is surrounding the competitive video game industry? I completely understand the athlete argument that these players aren't athletes. How dare you compare them to the people that are working on their bodies and practicing day in, day out on bettering themselves physically to be the elite in muscle. And yes, it's true, gamers don't have to physically be better than their opponents when they're playing. They have to be smarter. But one thing you will never be able to take away is that there is the physical element of mechanics. just like football, basketball, anything that has to do with landing shots, a quarterback throwing to the wide receiver, an NBA player trying to hit the three-pointer. There is a level of repetition and mechanics that directly you can see back into the gaming world. These huge popular games, Counter-Strike and Overwatch, are great examples of mechanics. People that are physically interacting. It's not we're just watching a screen. That's not what's happening. There is very much a level of physical interaction going on, and these players have put in the hours and hours and hours every single day for years of hitting the most perfect and precise shots that can only be developed with years of training. Man, and that sounds a lot like what it takes to be a really good basketball player. So really the whole argument gets summed up to these competitive gamers are not moving enough. That is the only thing that doesn't consider gaming a sport to you guys, is that they're not moving enough. If that's the only thing that holds the word sport back from gaming, then you know what, I guess we might just be waiting until VR is the next big thing if it ever hits. But until then, I have a hard time just completely barring video games from being a technical sport, because there are just way too many parallels between the two industries, and they are just incredibly similar. If it all comes down to one thing, and that the gamer isn't moving enough, I don't know how long that argument is going to be able to hold up. Socially and culturally, the word athlete does have the connotation of running, and we'll look it up right now. The technical definition of athlete, once spelled correctly, is a person who is proficient in sports and other forms of physical exercise. And again, this just leads us to the word physical, and that is the one thing that this entire operation and debate is hinging upon. Gamers, whether people want to call competitive gaming a sport or not, does not matter. Why do we care what they think? And at the end of the day, if most of us look at this world as cooler than sports, why do we want our thing to be called a sport? That just kind of devalues what we have. It's just going to be a boring sport. What we have is cooler, and I want it to stay that way. My official stance on this is that no one should care what this is called. Your traditional ESPN people, of course, are going to be like, this ain't a sport, but to the rest of us, dude, we should be happy with what we have because it is growing faster than these crappy sports, and it's way more fun. That's just my opinion, though. Take care, everybody. Have a nice night.